Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back to Head Over Heels podcast, where we are head over heels for healing, and we are aiming to heal your heart, heal your mind, and heal your life through the one and only Jesus Christ. So, y'all, today's topic, we are going to be talking about hobbies. Holy girl hobbies, because there is such a weird stipulation surrounding women of God and Christianity and just what it means to walk with Jesus. And I think so many people think that when you give your life to Jesus, that all of a sudden, like, you just have to live some boring, funless life. I know that's not a word, but you get the idea. So many people think that living with God means living with no fun, that when you give your life to Jesus, that you just can't enjoy yourself anymore. And that is so far from the truth. My life has never been more enjoyable since I gave my life to him, because it's like he takes away all of the mess and all of the pain and all of the worry and all of the shame and all of the guilt and just all of these terrible things that nobody wants to live with. And instead he replaces it with peace and love and joy and just all of these amazing things. And it's like the more you come to know God, the more you are able to come to know yourself, and the more he just opens up a whole entire world of possibilities for you and what you are able to do. So I really wanted to do a whole episode just talking about different things that you can do to just enjoy yourself and have fun without sinning, because you do not have to drink to have fun. You do not have to smoke to have fun. You do not have to go and have sex to have fun. You do not have to go and steal to have fun. You don't have to go and cuss somebody out to get some sense of adrenaline. There are so many things that you can do to just have fun and not sin. And I think sometimes sin and fun are just tied together, when that just shouldn't be true. Yes, sin is enticing. I definitely used to be the type of person that thought the only time that I could let loose and have a good time was to go and smoke a blunt, or to go and get drunk, or to go to a club, or to go have sex and go hook up and go do this and go do that. But that is not how it has to be. There are so many things that you can do that don't involve sin. Sin is not where we need to be, but we can be at the feet of Jesus and still be having a good time. So let's go ahead and get into some different hobbies that we can do with Jesus and still keep our righteousness, okay? Because we want to be holy girls, not baddies, okay? We want to be women of God, not women of the world, okay? So I wrote out a cute little list because I love me a list. So I made a list of different hobbies that you can do that do not involve sin, that are so fun that you can just dive into. If you are somebody that is like me, I spent so many years and so much time just not knowing what in the world to do with myself. If I wasn't in school or I wasn't working, a lot of times I didn't really have a personality outside of those things, or outside of my friendships or my family. I was like, dang, what do I actually like to do? What do I like to do in my free time that brings me joy? And I am so thankful that in these past few years, God has really just had me in a season of my life where I feel like I'm just in an area of self-discovery and just uncovering. And it's so beautiful and so amazing, because he has allowed me to find so many things to replace all of the sin that I was living in. I don't look to my past and I'm like, dang, I wish I was still doing that. Dang, I wish I was still living like this. Dang, I wish I was still, doing this thing, because God has restored me in such a way that I have such a strong foundation and a strong identity that is rooted in him. And it's every single day he allows me to continue uncovering. And I think that is the beauty of life, is you never get to a point where it's oh yeah, I'm done, I'm fully healed, I'm fully known, I'm fully discovered. I think you're always discovering, you're always uncovering. And that's an amazing thing, because it's that gives you something to always be reaching to. There's not this finish line that you ever get to with God. Even with the Bible, if I read this Bible cover to cover, 100 times, still on that 101st time, there is going to be something that God shows to me and that he reveals to me. And I think that is so cool. And it's the same thing with us. Like, when God is allowing us to know ourselves, even if he has put us in a career and we have the husband, and we have the kids, and we have the home, and we have the car, and we feel, secure in ourselves, still there is so much to learn. Because, God, I would say that in this time of my life, for the first time in my life, I feel secure in my identity, but still, even so, I'm still discovering. I'm still uncovering. And I think that's so cool. But anyways, y'all, let me stop yapping and let's get into it. So I put all of these different hobbies in different categories. So we have some creative and expressive type of hobbies. We also have physical hobbies, escapist type of hobbies, communal hobbies, like fellowship type hobbies, and consumerism hobbies. Because I do think consumerism deserves its own category. So let's just start with that one, because that one is the shortest that I wrote out. So if you are the type of girl, you love to consume, you love to buy something, you love to just get things, okay? There is still a way to do that without, going to get some weed, or going to get some alcohol, or going to get some dope, or going to get, some men, or going to get, things that you don't need. Okay, things that are not good, things that are not holy, okay? But if that is you and you do love to get and grab, you do want to make sure that you're not falling into the sin of greed, where you're just like being too consumerist, you don't want to be consuming too much and, get into that spirit of just not being content with what you have. But, it's still fun to just do a little buying sometimes. Like, that is our escape. Like, that is what we love to do. So if you are one of those girls, I think a perfect hobby for you, of course, would be shopping. Like, just instead of going to do something bad, and going to sin, like, just go shopping. Go to cute little stores. Find cute little places near you that you haven't, went into. Check out some cute little vintage shops and go to different malls and try, different clothing brands that you've never tried before. Go into different shops that you've never went into before. Kind of go out of your comfort zone. Or even if you don't want to go out of your comfort zone, just be a shopping girl and just enjoy that, in limitation, because we don't want to go too overboard. We still want to be responsible and disciplined with our money, okay? Because even that is biblical. But if that is your vibe, that's still okay. So you could be a shopper girly. Or in the same breath, with a consumerist type of hobby, you could have a collection. Because I feel like this keeps you in a childlike spirit, And the Bible does call us to have a childlike faith. And I think it's so beautiful when we are able to maintain just a youthful, childlike spirit. Because honestly, I think that also keeps us in the mindset of being a daughter of God or being a son of God. And it just reminds us that we are just his little babies. We are literally just his little children. And when you just allow him to come into your life in such a way that he restores your youth back to you, it is so beautiful. And I think one of those things that I have discovered is in having collections of different things, because it almost makes you feel like a little kid again when you're like, oh my gosh, mom, can you just get me this new little Barbie doll? Or can you just, go and get me this new toy that I saw in a commercial? Or oh my gosh, I'm so excited to get this new something. Kids are always wanting for something. If you want to see someone with a collection of something, most kids have some sort of thing that they are super obsessed with. I know a lot of kids that collected rocks, or collected books, or collected Barbie dolls, or collected, just whatever. Kids usually always have collections. You don't usually think about collections in an adult sense, because most adults are super serious and they're all about work and making money and all of these things, and that's normal. Life kind of grabs us in that type of way and steals us away from that childlike mindset. But I think literally, if you love to just go and buy things, start a collection of some sorts, whether it's coffee mugs or I don't know, rocks and minerals. Maybe that is something you want to collect, or have a collection of books, or a collection of perfumes, or a collection of necklaces, or just whatever is your vibe. Just find something to look forward to and to be able to pour into. So it's it gives you something to look to. You know, it gives you something to be excited about. And I think that's so cute. Like me and my husband, we both have like so many different things that we collect. One of our favorite collections, I think, for both of us is our Funko Pop collections. We love a Funko Pop, okay? And we just love that. And I think it's so cute. And my mom, I love, like, she has a super cute little collection of magnets. And I have started my own little mini one. It definitely is not as big as hers yet. But I love that. I love just seeing people with collections. And my little brother, he has a collection of swords. My husband has also started like a collection of Hot Toys. I don't know if y'all have heard of those. They're basically like adult action figures and they're so cool. But I just think collections are so like unique, and it's so cool to be able to, you know, pin a collection to somebody. And like when you see that thing, it like reminds you of someone. It's like, oh, like, you know, whenever I see a book, oh, one of my friends like has such a beautiful book collection. Or if I see a magnet, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my mom would love this magnet. Or if I see this keychain, I'm like, oh my gosh, like my friend that collects keychains would love this keychain. You know, and that is harmless. You know, there's no sin in that, and it's still fun. You know, and that's the whole point of this whole video, is that you can still have fun and enjoy your life without sinning. Like, it is so possible to have a good time and not sin. Like that's the whole point of this video. And also, we can just add into that, it is so possible to have fun and to do things other than scroll on TikTok, okay? Other than scroll on Instagram, other than scroll on YouTube, other than scrolling. Now, don't get me wrong, I love social media. I think it is a great, you know, platform. I think it is such a unique type of community and just element that we have in our generation, but you have to know how to use it responsibly. You do not need to be spending hours a day scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on Instagram or scrolling on Twitter or Snapchat or whatever your app is that you know is your vice. You know, you need to have boundaries with yourself, because if you don't even have boundaries with yourself or respect for your own time, you cannot be mad at anyone else for not respecting your time or not respecting your boundaries if you don't even have any for yourself. And that's a whole nother episode. And that's also a whole nother thing that I'm working on with myself as well, is learning what it means to respect myself and have boundaries with myself. Because if I don't have any respect or boundaries with me, I honestly can't get mad at a single person for not respecting any boundary that I put in place when I don't even respect them. But we'll leave that right there. Also, another element of consumerism, if like, you know, spending money is your thing, you could be like a foodie and go to all kind of different restaurants and just eat and enjoy. Like, one of my favorite things to do is try new restaurants, especially like different cultures, like whether it's Spanish food or whether it's Asian food or whether it's, I don't know, Malaysian food or whatever, Italian food. I love just eating. Like, eating is such a fun pastime to me. And honestly, you know, that can fall into a sin too. You don't want to eat too much or you're going to fall into that greed. You know, you don't want to do that, or not even greed, but also gluttony. I think those two can go hand in hand sometimes. So, you know, you don't want to fall into gluttony. Everything is good in moderation, or not everything. Okay, don't hear what I'm not saying. Y'all know what I mean. Everything does need to be done in moderation. Okay, not sin. Sin needs to be, you know, out of there. But even good things, too much of a good thing is bad for you. Okay. But yeah, like if you love spending money, like go just be a foodie. Go and try cute little restaurants. Go try cute little coffee shops. Get cute little drinks, smoothie places, tea places, boba places. Like literally just go and eat and have the time of your life, you know? So that's all that I wrote down for like consumerism type of hobbies, because I don't really know anything else aside from like shopping, eating, collecting. I don't know, travel, that could be like an element of consumerism, but I feel like that's more so like an escapist type of hobby. So let's get into that. So I feel like travel could go in consumerism because, you know, you do have to spend money to travel, but I feel like traveling is also an element of escapism and like an escapist type of hobby, if you will, if traveling even counts as like a hobby. I feel like it does, right? Traveling is definitely a hobby for sure. So yeah, but I feel like it's more of an escapist hobby because it gives you just a way to get out. You know, you're escaping, you know, your 9 to 5, you're escaping, maybe you're leaving the kids at home, okay, getting a little getaway, or maybe even like your husband and you're having a little solo trip and you just kind of dip out. Like you're just leaving your typical day-to-day life and you're getting an escape. And I think that's so beautiful, and that is definitely a fun hobby that you can do without sinning, without doom scrolling. Like you can go and get on a flight or get up in a car and have a little road trip or get on a train or whatever you want to do. Traveling is a perfect escapist hobby. And also I think one of the like biggest blessings in this world is this earth that God created for us. And what a freaking blessing it is to be able to have the money to travel, the freedom to travel, the time to travel. Like if you have all of those things, definitely take advantage of it, because man, like God created this big, amazing planet, and we just like, we need to see it. If I had one wish, or this is a lie, I would need a lot of wishes, but if I had like a bunch of wishes, one of them would definitely be to just be able to travel the entire world, the entirety of the world. I'm talking every country, every city, every restaurant, every coffee shop, every mall. Like I want to be everywhere, you know, because I mean the world is too big to not explore it. And again, I'm gonna keep saying it, traveling is something fun to do without sinning, okay? Anyway, so let's get into another escapist hobby. One of my favorite escapist hobbies is reading, but I will say I have not been super consistent in my reading this year, which I am so sad about. But sometimes, you know, it just works out like that. And I think it is super important to show yourself grace and recognize that even if you have like a hobby that you are diving into just completely in one season and maybe in another one you're not and you're diving into something else, like that's okay. This year I probably have read half as much as I did last year, which is, again, it's super sad because I do love to read, but God just had me in a lot of different things this year, so I didn't have the same amount of time as I did last year. And honestly, that could also just be excuses too, because I mean there have been days that maybe, you know, I'm just scrolling on TikTok or I'm doing something that maybe, you know, is not super productive or super great for my brain that I could have been reading instead, you know, but it's okay. But either way, reading is definitely a super awesome escapist type of hobby, because again, it puts you in a whole nother world. You know, if you're a big romance girly and you just love romance, you love love, you can just open up a book and you can be planted into a love story. Love that. I went through a phase where I was super obsessed with thrillers, and I loved like just being surprised. I loved the element of just like the suspense and just all of the things. So I was always reading like thrillers. I have a friend, she's always reading like historical fiction, and I love that. I also went through a phase where I was super obsessed with this genre. It's not super popular, but if you have heard of Rebecca Searle, her books I feel like go into a category of like magical realism, and I love anything that just isn't real. You know, like I love the element of fantasy because life is often just too serious and like just too much. So I love immersing myself in something that is just fantasy. Like I love that. So Rebecca Searle has very easily become one of my favorite authors because she dives into a type of storytelling that I think is so interesting, because it's like the plot of her books are just so fun. Like it's like an element of magic, and it's so cool. So if you have not read any of her books, I definitely recommend reading her books. They're so good. My favorite book by her is In 5 Years, and it's like a combination of like a romance, but it also ties in like kind of, you get the story of like these two best friends, which I think is really awesome because I love seeing friendships being portrayed in books as well. But you also get this element of like magical realism because the whole plot of the story, like it's not possible, you know. It's like, I don't know, I don't want to tell you the whole thing, but it's so good. So yeah, reading is definitely a hobby that I think literally everybody in the world should be a reader. Okay, I think reading is an important, part of adulthood and just life in general, even kids. I remember being in elementary school and I would literally go to the library during lunch because I just wanted to read. Like, reading is so important and it keeps your mind engaged. It keeps your vocabulary very large. And it just, like, I think it's so good for you. I think there are so many benefits to reading. So everybody should read, honestly, even if it's not romance or it's not thrillers or it's not historical fiction. Like, find your vibe. Whatever you are interested in, I guarantee you there's a book about it. I guarantee you, even if it's like nonfiction and you like reading, like autobiographies, and you like reading, I don't know, like just whatever it is, definitely get you a book and open it up. For sure. Okay, next thing is gaming. Gaming is such an amazing escapist hobby because literally you're being immersed visually into another world. That is something that I have recently dived into. I am in love with it. I look forward to my little gaming time at the end of the day. Or, if I can get some gaming in the morning before I have to start my day, I love it. It has been so fun. I love doing things, again, that just take me out of the world for a minute, because I think that's really important too, to have some form of escapism in your life so you don't get so boxed in. It sucks, if you are constantly just in this routine of work, eat, sleep, kids, husband, wife, like that is awful. That is so awful. And you want to give, you just want to give yourself time to just be anywhere else. You want to just be free, whether it's you're in a book, you're in a video game, you're on somebody's airplane, you're in the back of a car, going somewhere. Like, you need to have something that allows you to escape. And I think music is something like that as well. I think music has an element of escapism too, and that could be looked at as a hobby. If you are, a super big music enthusiast, that is definitely a hobby. If you really dive into the artist, you really dive into the artistry of music and the rhythm and the beat and the lyrics and just all of it. Music could definitely be a hobby and definitely could be an escapist one. There are so many songs that just feel like they're taking me just out of wherever I am, especially worship music. So definitely that, for sure. And in the same breath, I think movies is also an escapist type of hobby because, again, it's immersing you into this other life. It's immersing you into a different story, into a different world, and just taking you out of this one. And I think that's super awesome. So that is all that I have for the escapist hobbies. So now let's do communal. So with communal, that's basically just fellowship type of hobbies that are more community and partnership based, because I also think that is really important as well. We are social creatures. Even if you are the most introverted person in the world and you love your alone time, you love your space, there is still something just beautiful to be had in connection. So if you even if it's just something so small, once a week or once a month, you join a book club, or you join some sort of cooking class, or you join Pilates or a running club or whatever it is, just something that forces you to be with people. That is so good. It is so good for your social skills. It is so good for just your connectability, for your network. You never know, who God will allow you to encounter. And then that person may be a key element to what God is trying to do in your life. Maybe that is the best friend that you've been praying for. Maybe, this person knows another person that can get you into this door that you've been praying for. Maybe, they know something that you have just been needing. That's the key to whatever it is that you need in your life. We really are a puzzle, and we fit together with people in such a beautiful way, but you will never finish your puzzle piece and put your picture together if you are too scared to branch out and to actually meet people. Because I promise you, there are people out there that are meant to fit right in your life perfectly, maybe where you didn't even know you needed someone, where you didn't even know you needed this element of connection. You will encounter someone that opens your eyes and it's like, wow, like I never knew I needed you. Wow, I never knew that I needed connection in this way. Wow, I never knew that fellowship like this was possible. Wow, I never knew that like a sisterhood like this was possible. So you have to step out of your comfort zone and be like, okay, let me find something in fellowship that I'm going to do, or even at church. You know, if it worked with my life right now, I would love so much so to be a part of like a young adults group. They have so many groups at my church, and I hate that it doesn't work right now for me to be a part of one, but I love meeting everyone at church. I love talking to everyone on Sundays. I do still, you know, join in on like my Wednesday night, like Bible study, but it's back with my pastors that are back in my hometown in South Carolina. So it's just virtual. So it's not the same, you know, element of connection, but I still love that. I value that space. And I do love and value the connection that I get on Sundays with everyone, but I do think there is something extra special in going that extra mile and joining a youth group, joining a young adults group, joining something, especially where it is a bunch of people that love the Lord in one room, because that is keeping you in like-minded spaces, that is connecting you with like-minded people, and that is so important. So if you are at a church that has something like that, I really want to encourage you to go out and try it. You know, go maybe one night and just see if you like it, see if you vibe with the people. And even if you don't at first, you know, don't give up and just try again. Like just kind of maybe keep dipping your toes in the water and you'll get a little more comfortable. Or if that's not your vibe, you know, join a yoga class. Or if that's not your vibe, maybe do a cycling class. I don't know if y'all have ever done a cycling class before, but it is so fun. It's dark, you know, and oh my gosh, especially, okay, if you are the type of girl where you love a party, you love to go to a club, you love like that type of vibe, one, I want to say I get it for sure. I definitely used to love a party, a club, or whatever, because it's like an energy. And if that is you, I really encourage you to try cycling, because they have it, the room is dark and all of the bicycles are spread out across the room, and they play music, and there will be an instructor at the front of the room, obviously, you know, telling you when to get up and when to, you know, do this or do that or whatever. Like it's an interactive workout class. And it is so fun. Like the energy is so high in there. And I don't want to say, I don't know if it's bad to compare it to a club or not, but it gives that same type of like high energy, like super fun, super exciting, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, and it's super fun, and it's not a sin. Like it's not a sin to be in a cycling class. You are gonna fall into some sin in a club, but if you do like that club space, even in like cycling classes, like sometimes they do even have like the light show type of vibes going, so it even more so gives that element of like a fun party. But instead of getting drunk and destroying your temple, instead you are building it. Instead you are doing a physical activity that is helping your heart. You know, you're doing cardio, you're moving your arms, you're doing all these things that are actually pouring into you, that's actually good, and you're having fun at the same time. So we love that. So yeah, and if books are your thing and you already love, you know, the escapism of reading, you already love diving into a good book, maybe join a book club. Like that would be the perfect little thing to like open a door to a whole nother hobby that you could have, but it would kind of be stepping it up to where now it's not only a form of escapism, but now you have it in the element of community too, because now like you can read on your own, and then you also have this book club that immerses you into fellowship and community, which is awesome. So yeah. So on the same topic of cycling, let's move on to some physical hobbies that you can do that are super fun and super great and super amazing. Because part of being a woman of God, part of serving the Lord, part of just walking with Jesus is taking care of your body, because your body is a temple. It is, you know, something that we are called to steward and steward well. So when you are working out, when you are eating right, when you are drinking your water and doing your skincare and just doing all the things that take care of your body, you actually are serving God, and you actually are honoring God. Like honoring and taking care of your body is a form of worship to the Lord, because you are showing him, hey, I care about this temple that you gave me, and I'm going to show you by taking care of it. I'm going to show you by stewarding it well. So a physical hobby that you could dive into is definitely joining the gym, going to the gym, lifting some weights, pumping some iron, run on the treadmill, do what you do. Whatever you like to do in the gym, go ahead and have at it, Or if you're not really a gym girl, you could maybe join Pilates, or you could do, whatever other workout classes there are. Like, there are so many different elements of working out. You could be a runner. You could just go out and go on runs. I personally love to go on runs, and I personally love the gym as well. Those are my two forms of working out that I really love. But if that's not your speed, like, there are so many things. You could be like what is it called? Like a bicyclist, a cyclist. I don't know. You could, do cycling, whether it's in a cycling class, or you could literally just go hop on a bike and go ride outside, or you could go and walk. Or, if the gym and like being in like super just heavy like infiltrated spaces is not for you, like you don't really like working out in front of people, you don't really like being seen, because sometimes that is the truth. Some people, they don't really like being in those type of environments. It is kind of awkward, like it's very vulnerable, and I definitely understand that, but I definitely would say pray about it, pray that God gives you that spirit of boldness and confidence and courageousness to just go forward anyways, because it doesn't matter what anybody thinks, it doesn't matter what anybody says, it doesn't matter how they're looking at you, if they are looking at you, or if they're judging you, if they're talking about you, it doesn't matter. But, until you are able to step into that spirit of boldness and courageousness, I would definitely encourage you to find like some YouTube video and work out to that. There are so many girls that I love to watch on YouTube if I'm not in a space where I can go to the gym, or it's raining outside, so I obviously don't want to go on a run in the rain. I have tried that. It is a terrible experience. I tried to be like, yeah, the rain ain't gonna stop nobody. And that's ridiculous. So I'm out there running in the rain. I can't even see. There's water in my eyes. My eyes are burning. I'm pissed off. Like, that's not the vibe. So yeah, whenever you can't go on a run, or you can't go on a walk, or you don't want to go to the gym, or you can't go to the gym, or whatever it is, like, at home workouts are also still just as beneficial. It may not be, the same type of energy or vibe in a space where so many people are doing the same thing. And I like to think of it like, oh, this is so weird. I don't know why this is the comparison that came to my mind, but in the same way that, like, I can worship at home by myself. Like, I can turn on worship music and I can invite the Spirit of God by myself. I can feel God's presence anywhere. I can invite his presence with me anywhere I go. But there is still something so different about the Spirit of God that exists within church, because there is nothing like being in a space of so many people worshiping God together. In the same way, I can for sure work out at home, but for me personally, there is nothing that compares to being at the gym, where there are so many people in one space working on themselves in the same way. There's like an energy that exists in the gym. There's an energy that exists in the church that is so different, because you are surrounded by people. Like, people really are in numbers so powerful. And I think, even the Bible is a testament of that, because even the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered, there I am with them. And I think in that verse, it is pointing to the element of the power in connection. So do with that information what you will. But anyways, it is just important to have some sort of hobby where you move your body. And honestly, as I have all of these in like different categories, I think it is super important too to try to find one in every single category. Maybe a consumerist one isn't super important, but if you want to have some sort of consumerist hobby as well as a communal one, like a fellowship community type of hobby, an escapist hobby, and a physical hobby, and our last category, a creative hobby, I think that keeps you a very well-rounded individual. And honestly, one that I don't have on here, which would also probably would be really good, is something that is intellectual, like some sort of intellectual hobby. And I think maybe even reading is an intellectual hobby. Probably, maybe not like so much if you're reading like, romance and thrillers and things that aren't necessarily on like high intellectual levels. Like, do not get me wrong, I do not think like you're an idiot or something if you're like only reading like fictional romance or whatever, because that's mainly the only thing that I read, and I do think there are still elements of your brain that are being added to by reading those. But I think more so for something to be for something to be more intellectually stimulating, like something that is requiring you to learn and activate that part of your brain where you are just constantly learning. Obviously, if you're in college, I mean, you are already getting that. If you're in high school, if you're in middle school, whatever, you know, you are forced to be learning all the time. But then it gets a little bit harder when you get out of school, and it's like, okay, now you have to have that self-motivation and that self-determination to go out and seek knowledge for yourself, whether it's watching a documentary or watching some, you know, educational video on YouTube, or reading some sort of book on information that you want to know about, or doing like your own research. That is something that I used to try so hard to keep in my life that I don't really do as much anymore. I'm not really good about doing it, but I used to have a binder that was dedicated just to research. And if there would be some random topic, like if one day I'm like, oh my gosh, I love penguins, like I want to learn more about penguins, I would dedicate like maybe an hour at the end of the day when I would get off of work and just research about penguins, just for no reason. There was no benefit. I didn't need to go write a research paper on it or something, but just so I was forcing myself to learn. Because literally, like, if you're not in college, or you're not in high school, or you're not in some form of schooling, like, you don't just want to be a dumb adult. You know what I mean? Like, you want to learn constantly. You want to constantly be keeping your brain growing and knowing, and like grow those wrinkles. You know what I mean? And it also makes you just a well-rounded, diverse, versatile person in general, which again, you can be fun and exciting without sin. Some of my favorite people in the world to encounter and to talk to are people that are just so well versed. Like, they are just such a versatile human being. Like, I love when I can be talking to somebody and they just, I don't know, like they just have so much to add to the conversation, and that comes from just experience and from living and from having hobbies. Like, that makes you an interesting person. I'm not gonna think you're more interesting if you have the most fun looking, and I'm putting that in quotations, the most fun looking Instagram story, or the most fun looking like page on Instagram, or the most fun looking TikTok or something. Like, you're always posting and you're out and you're partying and you're drinking and like just having this quote unquote great life. Like, that, it to me is gonna tell me, okay, like, there's no substance here. And that's okay, because I used to be the exact same way. I used to be living the exact same way. And I think it is such a beautiful thing when you finally come to a place where you're like, God, I'm so much better than this. There is so much more than this. I know that I am so much more, there's just something so much more substantial to who I am, to who you have created me to be, that is more than just drinking, that is more than just getting high, that is more than just having sex, that is more than just all of these things that are just destroying me, you know? And maybe, you know, that could be your prayer. God, show me who I am. I pray that prayer all the time. All the time I'm praying that. God, show me who I am. God, point me in the direction of new hobbies, of new interests. God, what do you want me to learn about? God, what do you want me to spend my time doing? God, what should I be doing in my free time? God, what can I do instead of this thing? God, what can I do instead of this sin? God, help me. God, replace this thing. God, make me new. God, make me interesting. You know, like, it's not like weird to just ask God, like, hey, you know, I want to be cool. Like, make me into the person that you had in mind. Because I promise, the person that God had in mind for you is so cool. It's so much cooler than that girl that you idolize on the internet. It's so much cooler than that girl that you put on a pedestal. It's so much cooler than that girl that you compare yourself to. Because God made each of us. Fearfully and wonderfully made. He made each of us. Fearfully, uniquely made, each of us. There is something so unique and so beautiful about every single human being, to where there's no point for us to compare ourselves. There's no point for us to be mad at somebody else for having this, or doing this, or looking like this, or being good at this thing. Like, I'm not going to get mad at somebody because they are the best singer in the world when I sound like a can of rats when I sing. Like, I'm not gonna be mad at somebody else if they are the best soccer player I've ever seen in my life, and when I try to play soccer, I look like a toddler that is just learning how to walk. You know, like, just, it's so important to just be proud of people, to just be happy that people are living, to just admire people. And if you are the type of person where every time you get on the internet, you are comparing yourself and you are getting jealous and you are being envious and you are getting mad, social media is not the place for you. You don't need to be on social media, because if social media is not a place of positivity and inspiration, where you are just literally happy for people and you are just enjoying the content that you are consuming, you don't need to be on social media. Okay, it's so strange for me to say that, because I'm on social media a lot. I create on social media and I also consume on social media, but I have a healthy relationship with social media, and I do go through phases where maybe I want to share less, or maybe I want to post less. I guess that's the same thing. Anyways, where maybe I want to, put less of myself out there, or maybe, I'm in phases where like I'm in such a creative mood where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have this idea and I have this idea and I want to do this and I want to do that, so I'm creating more. But if I ever get in a space where I'm consuming so much and it's starting to negatively affect me, I'm also gonna have the discernment and the self-control to know, okay, I need to pull back from this. But honestly, that doesn't happen often, because I love social media. Something that I saw recently, and this is going off topic, but we'll try to be quick, but something that I saw today on social media, it is so strange to me. There was a whole video and like a whole comment thread where a girl, she basically posted a video saying that one of her favorite creators posted that she went and bought like a diamond necklace when she was like leaving the grocery store, some random Tuesday or something. She left a store or something, and then she went and bought a diamond necklace. And she was like, oh my gosh, like I literally was at Costco and I'm sorry, it's not funny, but it's just insane to me, like the mindset of people sometimes. She was like, oh, like I was at Costco and I had to put back a pack of like my strawberries or something because I couldn't afford to get both of them. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, like that's so weird to me. And then the whole comment section was just people like affirming this and agreeing with this. And one girl was like, yeah, like I unfollowed one of my favorite coffee influencers because she used to post like instant coffee recipes. It is so intense. She was like, okay, like she used to post instant coffee recipes and now she has a fancy espresso machine. Like that's not relatable anymore. Oh my goodness. Like people are so weird for that, because imagine like you start posting on social media, you come from nothing at all, and you start posting on social media and you build a following. You've been posting on social media maybe for years, maybe only for months, and you build a following, and now you're making double, triple, quadruple what you were making at your job. So now you're able to quit your job, you're doing social media full time, maybe you're doing something you're passionate about, making coffee, posting your art, posting outfits, whatever it is, you're posting online, right? And you're making all this money. And the very same people that started with you are now mad at you because you grew from what you started. Like, and you're exemplifying the fruit from your labor. It's like, why in the world would this creator, I don't even know the girl that she's talking about, but why, if I'm making so much more money, why should I be like ridiculed for upgrading and getting an espresso machine to like upgrade what I'm already doing? Like, I don't know. I don't understand that mindset where like if you're in one tax bracket, it's like you're mad at someone else because they're living in the means of the tax bracket that they are in. And I think another like conversation too is like people are constantly canceling like, super huge celebrities, super big influencers. They're like, oh my gosh, they're just so out of touch. They're just so unrelatable. I can't believe, that somebody would drive a Bentley and I can only afford a Honda Accord. Like, what is wrong with you? I just think that's so weird. Like, I love to see rich people living their rich life. Like, there is some like man that I just followed recently, and he's like day in the life of a billionaire or whatever, and I'm like, I love this. I'm eating it up every single time. I will say one of my guilty pleasures is watching the Kardashians. I love it. Me and my mom used to watch them together when I was a little girl. I love it. I love seeing people just live. Like, I don't care if you have $2 or if you got $2 billion. I just love seeing people live in their authentic self. And if I have $2 to my name and all I can afford is a sandwich at I don't know, the freaking grocery store or something, but somebody else has $2 billion and they can afford to go to Ruth Chris and wherever else, and they can go buy a Balenciaga and then leave from there and go buy a Bugatti or whatever, like, I'm never gonna be mad at that. I'm gonna be like, wow, like, period. Like, okay, like, I just think it's so weird. And anyways, let's get off that tangent. But if that is you, and like every time you get on the internet you are hating and you're jealous and you're envious, you literally just need to get off the internet. And if you have that mindset where you're so mad at people for literally just enjoying the fruits of their labor, like, you just need to get out of like, you just need to get out of everything. You need to get away from everybody and get in tune with yourself, because that is the weirdest thing ever. Because let's say, like, the same thing is true for someone that is walking with God. And let's say there's someone that has been walking with God forever and they've been pouring into something forever and they've been living paycheck to paycheck forever, and then God elevates them. It is God is the one that elevates them. God is the one that brings them up. God is the one that brings them the increase. God is the one that brings them the overflow. And then it's like, okay, they've been driving this beat up, freaking dented up, freaked up car for 20 years. And then God blesses them in such a way that, oh yeah, you are able to actually go and buy the Bentley, or you can go and buy the whatever it is that you want to buy. And it's like, people are mad at you for that, when it's like, you've waited for this, you have prayed for this, you have struggled and worked for this, and now people are mad at you because you can afford the thing that you've been waiting on forever. Like, you have been humble, and it's like, you still can have nice things and be humble. Like, anyways, this is a whole conversation that's pointless for this episode, but I just had to go on that little tangent, or I didn't have to, but anyways, y'all, like, just let social media be fun. Like, stop being jealous of people. Stop being envious of people. Stop being like, oh, just because you don't have it, somebody else can't. Like, just relax, please. Like, people are so mad, and I think that's so weird. But anyway, so our last section that we have, our last type of hobbies is creative hobbies. And this is my favorite. I am definitely a creative person. I love everything creative and expressive. And I definitely think that every single person in the world is creative. And I think if you think that you're not creative, you just haven't discovered your element of creativity. So my element of creativity is words. I love anything that allows me to create verbally, hence podcasts, hence social media, hence writing, hence journaling, like anything that allows words to come out of my mouth or come through my hands. Like, I just love words, okay? That is the biggest thing that God has put on my heart, and I love it. And if you are the same, I definitely encourage you to use it in whatever way that you can. Literally, any way that you can get your words out, get them. And I also think that journaling is so therapeutic. If you are the type of person that maybe you're not too keen on talking about your problems, you're not too big on like going to therapy, I think that journaling is a perfect option. It gives you a way to get those things that are sitting in your heart out of you without necessarily telling your business to people, and without, paying to go to therapy if that's not something that is, that you can afford. So I think that is super, super awesome. Another creative hobby that is more in the form of like actual, like creation with your hands is like crocheting and knitting. Like, if you are the type of person that has like the patience to do that, I think that's super awesome and super great. There are like a few different girls that I follow on TikTok that, are into like the crocheting and the knitting, and I have like a few friends that do it as well, and I love seeing the finished product of everything. Like, I just saw this girl like finish a blanket, and then some other girl, I think she just did like a hat, and it looks so cute. I've seen people do like full cardigans. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that. So if you are the type of person that has the patience again to do that, or it's something that you are just wanting to get into, you've been a little interested in, definitely do that. And again, like we've been saying the whole time, it doesn't involve sin. So we love that even more. Another creative hobby is puzzles and Legos. So my husband is a big Lego person. He loves just going to get a Lego set and putting it together and then putting it up somewhere around the house. This is literally a Lego set that he built for me. These are some Lego flowers and they're so pretty. So we love that. Because I always would complain. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just want some pretty flowers to put in the room and to put in the living room. Like I just want some pretty flowers. And he built me some flowers. So love that. And I think that's such a rewarding hobby because it's like you build it and then you get to showcase it. And I think that's so cool. We have so many of his Legos just around the house and I love looking at them. I'm like, oh, like you created this. How awesome is that? And I think puzzles kind of fall into the same category because it's like you sit there and you put the pieces together and then you get this beautiful finished product. I don't have the patience for puzzles because it's so overwhelming to me. Like it just feels like a big, huge mess that I'm having to search through. And I hate that a lot. My mom is a puzzle girl and I did try to get into it. I did buy myself a puzzle, never put it together, tried to put it together, did not put it together. I think I would be more into like building Legos because there are instructions. There's like a book, you know, that you're following. It's like, okay, take this piece and put it here. Take this piece and put it here. And I can get behind that. But with Legos, it's like, I mean, not with Legos, with a puzzle, it's like just a big mess that I don't want to decipher through, that I don't want to sit through. But some people love that and they find it really relaxing. My mom is one of those people. So love that for her, but do not love it for me. And maybe I'll love it for you if that is your vibe. So that is another thing. Another creative hobby that I think is super awesome is drawing and painting. I think art is so freaking amazing. I love artists. I love going to art museums. I love just marveling at art because art is not something that I, have a gifting in. I did, whenever I was a little girl, I always said I was going to grow up and be an author and an illustrator because I did love to write and I love to draw, but I didn't spend enough time really pouring into that interest and pouring into that hobby. So I kind of lost the artistry, but thank God for his intentionality because my husband is an artist. So I love just watching him draw and do his thing and just bring these beautiful pieces together because I'm like, wow, you literally did that with your hand. It's so insane to me. And even if you can't draw or you can't paint or you think that you can't, I really would encourage you to just pick up a pencil, pick up a paintbrush and just go at it. Just allow yourself to express whatever it is that needs to come out because maybe you'll discover either maybe something about yourself or you'll discover a hobby and a talent that you have that's just been hiding because you haven't tried it. And I think that's the beauty of hobbies too, is literally just try everything. Literally just try everything and see what fits, see what feels right, see what feels good. Because maybe there is something that is so perfect for you that you don't even know yet because you haven't tried it, because you're scared of failing or you're scared of not being good at it or you're just scared of trying something new. And I want to just decree and declare that spirit off of you. I want to just decree instead a spirit again of courageousness and boldness and confidence and willingness to just try something new. Because a lot of times God operates in the new. He even says, for the old has died and the new has come. So just let God use your new. Amen. Amen. So let's think. Another creative and expressive hobby that you could dive into, again, that does not involve sin, is cooking and baking. Now, if you are like me and you are a wife, especially one that is at home, cooking and baking may not seem all too appealing because for me, myself, and I, for our household, me and my husband, I am in here making breakfast, lunch, and dinner every darn day of the week, okay? So sometimes cooking and baking does not sound like the most enjoyable thing in the world to me because I'm doing it all the time, every single day. Dishes out the wazoo, okay? Because that dishwasher does not get used, okay? So cooking is not always my favorite thing in the world to do, but I find that I enjoy it more. And here we go, circling back to the new. I find that I enjoy it more when I am diving into new recipes, new dinner ideas, new baking, new desserts. It becomes more fun because it's something that I haven't done before. It's a meal that we haven't had 700 times before. You know what I mean? So definitely dive into that and allow that, creative element to come out of you a little more because I do even though I may complain about cooking all the time, like it is something that I don't know, that I relatively do enjoy, because it is like a kind of a love language, you know, when you're able to cook for someone and then you give it to them, and especially when they enjoy it, they really love it, they ask, you know, for more of it, they want another plate, they want you to make it again. Like there is just something so heartwarming about that. So there definitely is beauty in it, and I think it's super awesome. So that is definitely a creative and expressive hobby that you can dive into for sure. And the last thing that we're going to talk about, just to wrap it up, I'm going to like do a little rapid fire. So scrapbooking, you know, if you're really into pictures and especially just capturing and keeping memories, scrapbooking is super awesome. Another one is like decorating, especially if you feel like your place is like just super boring and super plain. Decorating is something you should really dive into. Like play with different colors, play with different patterns, play with different textures, and just have at it, okay? I think it's super important to find something in this world that allows you to just be creative. You know, you need some form of creativity in your life, because it just, I don't know, it livens it up. It gives like some element of sunshine to an otherwise just dull and dark world that we live in, okay? And last two that we'll do is gardening. Like, you know, plant you a cute little garden, or if you're not into like the whole outside like planting and gardening, like you could create bouquets. I have seen girlies on TikTok that literally like make these beautiful flower bouquets, and it is so cool. And I think that is something I want to try for myself, is like making bouquets, because it's like something about it just gives so feminine and girly and cutesy. And I love that. Like they'll cut up the flowers and cut up like the stems and like put these different little pieces together, and it just looks so beautiful and so fun. And something about it just looks so relaxing. I'm like, darn, I want to do that. So yeah, I don't know if this episode was just like super pointless, or if it was helpful, or if anything that I said like you are gonna take and be like, wow, like this really inspired me. But I really hope so, because I was gonna record like a whole different episode tonight, but God like really just put this idea on my heart, so I really wanted to record this video, because I feel like somebody needs it. Like I feel like there's somebody out there that's like, man, like I literally don't do anything with my life except scroll on TikTok and like eat and go to sleep. And you know, maybe there is somebody out there that really just needed this episode, you know, and even if it's just for one person, I did my job. You know, I'm just being obedient. God put this idea on my heart, so I'm like, okay, Lord, you know, I had a whole nother idea in mind, but if this is what you want me to talk about, okay, cool. So that is what we're doing over here. But nonetheless, I hope that y'all enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy, go ahead and leave me a thumbs down. That's fine. And that'll let me know to maybe not do any more like this. But if God tells me to, then I'm gonna just be like, okay, whatever. Like I'm gonna do it anyways, even with your thumbs down, and that's fine, because the Lord is gonna give me a thumbs up. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's all we got for tonight, y'all. I will see y'all in next week's episode. Bye.